Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lombardi Party. Wow! I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate. I know Packers did. We had a lot to be thankful for outside of family and food and fun. I went down to Florida this Thanksgiving and saw a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while, so that was a great time. But Packers fans in general, if they wanted to be thankful, all they had to do is watch the Packers-Dolphins game because it was a beatdown. The score won't tell you that, 30-17. It's only a two-score game, but it was never actually that close. The Dolphins had one chance in the third quarter to cut it down to a one-score game, and they got stuffed on the 1 yard line. So after that, it was over, and the Dolphins had a lot of just garbage time stats. It was never really as close as the score makes it look. That being said, the stats as well make it look a little closer. The Dolphins won the first down battle. They had 2 more first downs than the Packers did. They had 12 more total plays than the Packers did. They had about 60 more passing yards than the Packers, and they possessed the ball for about 6 more minutes. So that's a pretty good formula to win, but it didn't really matter because the Packers just won all the efficiency stats. Third down, the Packers were 5 of 11, and the Dolphins were 4 for 14. Yards per play, the Packers were 7.3, and the Dolphins were 5.8. The turnover battle, the Packers won by 1 off a muffed punt. Very first Dolphins possession. We had 75 more rushing yards, and we were better in the red zone. Packers were 3 for 5, and the Dolphins were 2 for 4. So that's the game right there. And that's really encouraging because that's a lot of stuff that we've struggled with, efficiency. We haven't been very good in the red zone this year. We haven't been very good on third down this year. So this is really what you like to see from a young Packers team if you're a Packers fan. And that starts with Jordan Love. And the QB battle in this one was kind of the story, Jordan Love versus Tua Tagovailoa. Both of them, if you'll remember, got huge contracts in the offseason. Jordan Love, 4 years, $220 million. Tua, 4-year, $212.4 million. So both ginormous contracts. And if you look at the stats in this one, they favored Tua, actually. Tua was 37 for 46, 365 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Jordan Love was 21 for 28, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Sorry, I got it written down wrong here, but it's 274 yards. But let's go back to the efficiency because that's where the Packers won the game, and that's where Jordan Love won this QB battle. Tua was 7.9 yards per pass, which still isn't bad. He also took 5 sacks in this game. Some of that you do pin on the O-line. Some of it you just pin on Tua's lack of athleticism. He can't really get out of the pocket. He's not really a runner. Jordan Love was 9.8 pass per play. That is elite efficiency and 0 sacks. And that's where Jordan Love won. And you see it when you look at the QBR and the passer rating. It's Jordan Love had a better QBR, 23 points better than Tua, and his passer rating was 25 points better than Tua. So, like, the stats will point to Tua, but Jordan Love thoroughly outplayed him in this game, especially in the cold. That's just not Tua's place to be. And of course, we have to throw out Jordan Love got his turkey leg finally. We missed it last year. Don't want to speculate, but I think Greg Olsen ate that. But the Packers got theirs this time. They actually got double. So shout out to the man who made that turkey and mac and cheese, and it looked incredible. But the receivers came to play in this game as well, and not only the wide receivers. Trucker Kraft had 6 receptions, 78 yards on 7 targets. I don't want him getting any less than, say, 4 or 5 targets a game. That is just, he's a machine in the receiving game. His yards after catch and yards after contact, it's incredible to watch. He's so physical and fun to watch. Josh Jacobs also was huge in the passing game this game. Only 4 receptions, but 74 yards. I think that's like 18 yards per reception there. So he has got to be kept involved in the receiver game. If you remember back to last year, that's where Aaron Jones is really, really good. He's a great receiving back. And it really just opens up so much offense. Because when they have to worry about the check down and your receiver and your running back can pick up 10 yards off of that, it just opens up the rest of the field. So Josh Jacobs has got to be more involved in the passing game than he has been. He has been the last 3 weeks, really this week and the week before last week, but I want him getting at least 3 or 4 targets every single game. Jaden Reed, only 3 receptions and 24 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns on 6 targets. Some of that was just Jordan Love missing his throw. He had one deep throw to Jaden Reed that should have been an easy touchdown, and Jordan Love just stepped too quickly up in the pocket and just airmailed that thing. But I like how many targets he's getting, and I'm not worried. I think that connection is going to keep clicking. Christian Watson, only 2 receptions and 2 receptions for 67 yards. He had 4 targets in this. We've got to put the ball in his hand more. If he gets 4 targets but he only catches 2, you got to give him another one. He's got to have the ball in his hands at least 4 times because he's so dynamic and so quick as a vertical threat. I want him getting the ball more often than he has been recently. And then Dontavian Wicks had a good game, and I predicted that he would with Romeo Doubs out. He gets open so much. In this game, he had 4 receptions, 30 yards. He had another big drop in this game. It was unfortunate. And that's been the problem. His separation rate is super high, one of the best in the league, but he's also got the highest drop percentage in the league. So I do think that he's going to be a really good player in this league. I don't know if it's going to be on the Packers, unfortunately, but I really, really do like Dontavian Wicks. And if he can just catch the ball. Last year he had the best hands on the team, so I'm not really sure what's happened. Last year he was just bringing in every ball that was thrown to him. So I think he's going to get back to that, just a little sophomore slump. I'm not super, super worried about him. We had a rare, inefficient game from Josh Jacobs in this one. We really don't see that very often. He had 43 yards on 19 carries. He had 1 touchdown. That's only 2.3 yards per carry, though. I think that he played better than the stats show. Of course, he was big in the receiving game in this one. And he also got a turkey leg, so good for him. He was one of the 3 players. But fortunately, other players were able to step up and carry the load in this one. Chris Brooks was really good in this game. 3 carries, 28 yards. That's 9.3 yards per carry. Jaden Reed, 1 carry for 23 yards. And Emmanuel Wilson, 2 carries for 20 yards. So I'm not worried about Josh Jacobs, especially not when we have other guys who can step up. But you have to remember, he had 26 carries against the Niners only 5 days earlier. That's 45 carries in 5 days. That is a ton. And I don't know if there's any other wide receivers in the league who could carry that load. So I'm not worried about this hit of efficiency for Josh Jacobs. I am a little concerned, though, that he may have to take a bit of a smaller load in the Lions game. Maybe we see him more in the passing game like we did in this one, and he gets a few less carries, and maybe his yards per carry aren't that great, especially since the Lions defense is really good, even though they're banged up. But I'm not worried whatsoever about Josh Jacobs. I still think that this offense has got to run through him because he opens up everything else, as he did in this game, even though he only had 43 yards. He opens up everything else. He is, I would argue, the most or the second most important player on this team after Jordan Love. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball because we played really well. 17 points allowed to the Dolphins, and I think in the last 3 games we haven't let up more than 19, if I remember. So that's really, really good. This defense is hitting its stride at the right time, and this is all without Jair right now, and Edgerrin Cooper, who I think is our best linebacker. They're both out right now, and yet we're still dominating teams defensively. In this game, like I said, we had the 1 recovered fumble off the muffed punt. We also had 5 sacks in this game. Quay Walker had a sack. Enigbari had a sack, Lucas Van Ness had a sack, Brandon Cox Jr. had a sack, and Kenny Clark had a sack. Those are all guys that we really want to get going, especially Quay, especially Kenny Clark, and especially Lucas Van Ness. None of them three have had a very great season, but in the last 3 or 4 games, they've all been picking it up, especially Quay Walker. But I would argue our best defensive player in this one was Isaiah McDuffie. 10 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 1 turkey leg at the end of the game. That's right. Him, Josh Jacobs, and Jordan Love were the 3 players of the game. Now, I will say everybody got a little bit of something. We all saw the whole team basically crowd around and grab a turkey leg, and then Josh Jacobs ran off with the whole plate into the locker room. You love to see that. I mean, the chemistry of this team was one of our strengths last year, and it's another strength this year. A lot of people were worried that with Josh Jacobs coming in and Aaron Jones leaving, that would take a hit, and Josh Jacobs has just been the guy that everybody loves, nobody can hate, because he's just so nice, he's so uplifting. He's come in, and I don't want to say he's just taken over everything that Aaron Jones did, because Aaron Jones was so beloved in the community, but Josh Jacobs is getting there, and it's his first season, and he's filling some really big shoes, so you really love to see that. Quay Walker had another really good game, and it kind of seems like Jeff Hafley has figured him out. I've always said he's better as a downhill threat, get him moving, get him attacking the quarterback, and he's not as great in coverage, but he was still good in coverage in this game. Once again, he had 10 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackles for loss. He's a really, really good run stopper, and he's good at getting after the QB. Xavier McKinney, another good game, as he always has. I mean, he has good games every week, but he had 9 tackles in this one. Evan Williams, the safety duo, had 7 tackles in this one. That's 2 games. I mean, Evan Williams is good every game, but he went through a little slump there, but I know that's 2 good games in a row there. And then Keyshawn Nixon, who I have not been a fan of whatsoever. I still don't think he's a quality safety, but he had a good one in this game. And that's 2 decent games in a row for him. So it does kind of make you wonder, is he not as bad? Maybe we were using him incorrectly. I'm not sure. I'm still not confident, but he's made plays in the last 2 games now. So good for Keyshawn Nixon. And if you do it again, I will owe you an apology, and I'll give it to you if you play well in this Lions game, especially against their stacked offense. Speaking of the Lions game, let's move on to that, because it's Lions week, and this is a must win for the Packers if they want to win the NFC North, or NFC in general. Must win for the Packers. And we need some things to go right for us, because these Lions are a really, really good team. They have a really good defense. Their offense is the best in the league, or second best behind Baltimore, or maybe third best. I think they're the best in the league. They have the duo of Gibbs and Monty. I even as a Packers fan, I'm a huge, huge fan of those two. The way that they're just so different, but they can control the game. You really love to see it. So the Packers have got to do a few things. First, Jair Alexander has to come back. This Lions offense is too good to deal with. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They got Jameson Williams. And then you got their running backs. I mean, Jair has got to be here. We can't win this game shorthanded at cornerback, especially since Kerry Valentine is looking like he's not going to be playing. So Jair has got to play. He has to if we want to win this game. And then we have to win the turnover battle. We can't give the Lions extra chances in this game, and we're going to need a couple extra chances of our own. So if the more the Lions have the ball, the worse for the Packers. We want to keep the ball out of their hands, and that's why another key to this game is to win the time of possession. If we can grind down their defense, grind it down, and I am a little worried about this with how much Josh Jacobs has played, but if we can just grind down their defense, never let their offense get hot, That, I think, is the road to victory. We also have to limit turnovers, especially turnovers that take our offense off the field, drive enders, or that keep their offense on, drive extenders. We cannot give this Lions team extra chances. We will lose if we do that. We have got to get them off the field. That's a recipe for disaster. And especially, we're playing on the road. We're going to be using a lot of silent count. So I expect a couple pre-snap penalties, but we have got to limit them. 1, 2, 3. Like, that's all. We can't have any more than that, especially on third downs or fourth downs, because the Lions go for it so often. And then I think we have to put pressure on Jared Goff. We have got to keep him. We can't let him be a game manager. We have to make him do more than that. And if we can force him into mistakes, we've seen he's prone to do so. So it's going to be difficult against this Lions offensive line. They're really, really good in the trenches. They're the best or the second best offensive line in the league. So it's going to be hard, but if Lucas Van Ness can get going, if we can blitz Quay Walker a couple times, if we can get Rashawn Gary a sack, that is the way to win this game. Make Jared Goff, beat us, because he won't be able to by himself. He has to rely on the players around him. So we can't let him be a game manager, because that's how we're going to lose. And the Packers have got to be perfect in this game, because if we're all being honest, the Lions are a better team. They're a more complete team. Not by much. It's close. But I think the Lions are a better team than us. It doesn't mean the Packers can't win. It just means that the Packers are going to have to be perfect. And they can't. They're going to have to force Detroit into some mistakes. This is going to be a game that really comes down to the mental battle. And I think fatigue is going to be a big factor in this one as well. So I think the Lions are a better team, but I don't think the Packers should be counted out. And I actually do think the Packers are going to win this one. If you look back to the first game, it was shot in the foot after shot in the foot for the Packers. We just kept on keeping ourselves out of this game. The Lions didn't do it. It was the Packers that did it to themselves. We had 3 red zone trips. One of them was a bad throw by Jordan Love. And then we had 2 drops that should have been touchdowns. I think we had 10 penalties in that game, which really held us back. So I'm not counting the Packers out by any means, but I do think that they got to have some things go right for them and got to have some things go wrong for the Lions. If I had to make a prediction right now, I think it's going to be a close game for sure. Packers defense have been really good recently. The offense has been really good recently. I'm going to go 28-24 Packers. Maybe 27-24. I think the Packers are gonna show up in this game. Look back to last year, we lost at home, and then we destroyed the Packers in Detroit, or we destroyed the Lions in Detroit. I don't think it's going to be that. I think the Lions are a better team than they were last year, but I still have got the Packers winning this game. You always got to believe. If you don't believe, they're not going to win. So, Packers Nation, believe with me. Hope that Jair's going to be in. Hope that we win the turnover battle. Hope that we're healthy. And hope that we win. And that is my show, guys. I know it was a quick one today, but I'm just so excited for this game tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good one. So let's just get this over with. Finish this day out, and we'll watch the game. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You can find more of me exclusively on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. You can also see our president, Michael Davis. You can see Podcast Smitty, Shannon Smith. You can see Sean Lucas, excuse me. You can see Aaron Schneider, Chris DeLuca. You could see anybody that you want to see that's on our team. We've got stuff for cooking fanatics, baseball fanatics, football, basketball. If you're just sports in general, go watch Out of Pocket. We've got something for you if you want us to have something for you. So go check out the page, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of us. And that's it for this week, guys. See y'all next week.